Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending upon what part of the world you're joining us from today. Thank you for joining. You have joined our one-day Create Revenue Now class, and we are going to talk about creating revenue now. And I'm going to do my best to install this way of thinking into your mind. So you have this on your success tool belt. You have you're able to draw from this. It's like I trained under Tony Robbins. He's all about state. If you go to a Tony Robbins seminar, you got you jumping up and down, and it's not just for entertainment. It's he believes in your physiology and your body and how your body moves. Steve Hardison, if you ever train with him, he's all about being. So what I want you to get from my training today is my belief and emphasis on create revenue now, a position to come from, language, using the language of create revenue now, the intention of create revenue now. When do you want to do it? Now. It's all about now. All we have is now. If you really think about it, all we have is now and then now and then now. All we have is the present moment. Tomorrow doesn't exist because when we get to tomorrow, it's now. So we want to create revenue now. It doesn't mean we're not building for the future. Sometimes create revenue now is putting things in the pipeline based on your sales cycle. But it has to do with urgency. It has to do with getting the result now. I was talking to one of my clients the other day. She made an offer to somebody and it was looking really good. It was a $6,000 offer. And from the time I helped her craft the offer, we crafted the offer on a coaching call, to the time she delivered the offer to her potential client, the guy lost his job. So his ability to pay dramatically decreased and his need was different. So my client comes back to me and says, I made the offer, but the person balked because he's out of a job right now. He's going to get another job. So it's kind of in a holding pattern. And I said to her, reach out to him and say, I've been thinking about you since our last call and I have an idea I want to run by you. Can we hop on another call? And he would probably say yes. And then I advised her to make a different offer based on the fact that he no longer has his job at a different price point to connect with where he was at. And we'll see if she gets it. But what gave me the creativity to go back to this client? I want to create revenue now. Where's there an opportunity? I want to use my sales creativity because I'm coming from how can I create revenue now? So how did I develop this way of thinking? I was not born with create revenue now. I was not interested in sales early in my career. I ended up in sales. This is me at my first sales job working for Dante Parrano. Dante Parrano was and still is a multimillionaire real estate investor. And I was drawn to work for Dante because I wanted to have some of his success rub off on me. I was 22, 23 years old, 24 in this photo, early 20s. And this guy he drove a Ferrari and he wore Versace suits and he was just like wealth. And he was so cool and I wanted to be like Dante. And so I went to work for him and he's like, okay, if you want to work for me, you have to do sales. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I just want to be around you. If you want me to do sales, I would have been happy in the mailroom. I might have been happier there. I would have been happy in customer service. I might have been happier there too. It was sales. And so we had a whiteboard where you put your every day you made a sale, you wrote it yourself on the whiteboard. And then there was a giant whiteboard that had everybody's numbers on it, where everyone in the bullpen could see everybody else's numbers. And so what was the job? Create revenue now. We didn't call it that, but you were clear. Your job was to come in and close deals. And so that's what we did. And so I was with him for about 2 years in an environment. We didn't say create revenue now. It's just what we did. So I got it there, and that's Dante there. And then I worked for Tony Robbins. And when I worked for Tony, 2 of those years I was in a sales role, and my job was to bring in $2,000 a day. And the way I would do it, I was on the sales team, and we would live in a city for 2 to 3 months, like Chicago or Dallas, Texas. So Tony would be doing a seminar in that city in a couple of months, and he'd drop us in there, put us up in corporate housing, give us a rental car. And so our job was to drive all over the city. And the way we did the sales is we got in front of groups, like we'd be a guest speaker at a sales meeting, like a car dealership or a real estate office or a mortgage company. And we would do a little mini Tony Robbins speech. And then at the end, we'd say, and Tony's coming to town, and would you like to buy a ticket? So my job was to go into 2 companies a day and bring out $1,000 per appointment. 1 call close. Okay. And as you can imagine, it's Tony freaking Robbins. Okay. He's expecting results. And in that company, we didn't have a sales board. We had a virtual sales board. So you would go into the computer and you'd update your numbers. And guess who else could see them? Everybody. And so we were expected to produce, and we did produce. Tony never said create revenue now. He didn't need to. So for about 5 years in my beginning sales career, this got in my bones. So I've always done this, but I've not always taught it. Because sometimes we're doing something that's part of the secret sauce and we're not present to it. I wasn't present to this mindset and how vital it was to my sales success. So I get a client, I teach you how to write a book in a day, teach you how to write a sales script, teach you how to prospect, teach you this, teach you that, teach you all this cool stuff. And you're learning. And in some cases, no increase in sales. And I'm scratching my head and I'm like, what is going on here? Like, they're getting the highest level sales training on the planet, the best I can possibly deliver. And the sales aren't going up. And then one day it dawned on me, after doing this for a couple of decades, oh, they're not coming from create revenue now. Some clients have a goal to bring in 5,000 in the month, and then the end of the month, they don't do 5,000, they do 3,000. And then the response is, oh, well, the goal was 5, I only did 3, oh, well. Okay, here's the mindset. If your goal is 5, it could be 10, it could be 50, it could be 100, it doesn't matter. If your goal is 5 and you do 3, you've got to then say, what can I learn from this? What can I do different? Where do I need to pivot? Where do I need to be more urgent? What do I need to adjust? Where do I need to be more committed? See, if you have the experience of the goal of 5 and producing 3, and you don't do that, you probably are just going to do the same thing the next month. So there's this Joe Dispenza book out that I've been talking about lately. If you're taking notes, jot this in your notes, the title, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. I honestly don't care if you get the book or not. I'm not advocating go read the book. Joe Dispenza is amazing, okay? It's not, what I'm teaching right now is the title, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. We all do life in patterns. You eat the same foods, your haircut's the same every time, you wear the same type of clothing, the same color of clothing. It's all the same. There's nothing wrong with that. It's called being a human being. But if you're not creating the revenue that you want or need, you've got to stop being who you're being. If you get to the end of the month and your goal was 5 and you produce 3 and you go, oh, well, like, I'm just going to be blunt, you're screwed, because you're going to go into the next month and do the same thing. And this could go on for years. There are some people that I train and they come to class and they've been with me for over a year and they're not making any more money. And so it's like, okay, I've got to point everybody to create revenue now. I've got to teach the mindset that at the end of the month, if you're not getting the results that you want, we've got to pivot.